You know the window, the pop-up window that comes that shows different names? If it's, I mean, you have more than one monitor there, right? If possible, or at least not in the center. Okay. Yeah, on the side. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, there's Srila Madhusudan Maharaj. We're waiting for your audio, Maharaj, if you can hear me.
Okay, thank you, the control room. Dandavad. Okay, now I'm sorry to say you've got my voice. Oh, you had my voice before. Sorry about that. But now I can hear you. No, you didn't have my voice, but I could hear you all. Maharaj, Dandavad Pranam to your holy feet and all of the Vaishnavas present. Vanchakalpurvishcha Kripasinubhya Danam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. We are the ones gathered on time. Just see. But the others will come in varied degrees of time. Paramananda Prabhu, Govinda Govinda. Are you spotlighted only on my screen or on everybody's screen?
Good question.
Good question. I do not know also.
All screens, according to the control center.
Sripad Dandi Maharaj with us too. Dandavat Pranam, Sripad Dandi Maharaj. And who's in the car? Some little faces in the car. Pin video. Oh, okay. We've got our team. Nadia Priya Devidasin. Who is driving? Dandavat Nadia Priya. Narayan is driving. Keep your hands on the wheel, please.
Yeah, they're going like that.
And looking through, where's usually each day our Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj is with us. I expect he'll join us soon. Abhazir is very much like India. Well, it used to be much more. Electricity comes and goes. And maybe 3 weeks ago, their main electric box caught fire and blew up. So they face the normal life's challenges to connect. And Giridhari Prabhu in Hungary, happy to have you with us, Prabhu. And so many names. Now everyone joining in happily. And Krishna Lalana, Devidasi in London, Jamuna Priya, and our devotees there in Ukraine, Ajitasha Devidasi, and many. Trilokanath Prabhu with us again today, Prabhu Dandavat. You'll be surprised today, maybe 4 different devotees quoted your speaking in, well, you gave speaking in Greek, but I had today speaking in other languages. I shall chant the Maha Mantra in Romanesque. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right. And Sandeep Krishna Prabhu, the president of our Vrindavan temple, where we are beginning our program. And Sulakshana Devidasi translating. Are you translating for the Chinese section? Yes? Yes, Sulakshana Devirasi, hard work, difficult task to translate, running translation for the Chinese section, and Nityananda Das Prabhu, hard work and translating for the Russian section in a simultaneous translation. And very humbly this morning, Nityananda Das Prabhu is apologizing to the devotees. Oh, please excuse, I'm not qualified. I almost melted to see his humility.
Also, Lakshana Dasi, she translated all of Guru Maharaj's books, but just recently, The Subjective Evolution of Consciousness in Chinese and published by the Chinese devotees. We're offering to Srila Guru Maharaj for his appearance, celebration, but as a cause for joy and celebration. Subjective Evolution of Consciousness in Chinese. Hare Krishna. Jai Sulakshana Devi Dasi ki jai.
And what a wonderful offering for Guru Maharaj around this Vyasa Puja time.
Yes.
Yes, Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj has joined us. Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj, our Dandavat Pranam to you and to all the devotees there in Abkhazia. And Nyasi Maharaj, not with us. But Maharaj, we're 5 minutes in, we're gathering outside. Yes, now we can see Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. And Prem Narayan Prabhu right beside him, mystically. Right beside Abkhazia. California is right beside Abkhazia. Are you living in a trailer, Prem Narayan Prabhu, or is that a house?
The boat.
It's a boat.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on very still water.
In a nice harbor.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, Prem Narayan Prabhu. Audarya Leela Devirasi with us from Ukraine also. And she's usually outside, she's inside today. We are usually outside, we are inside today also. Maharaj, then shall we begin?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Maharaj, I'll just clarify with you, we're right in front of our temple just now, but I'll clarify with you, we'll first go to Seva Kunj, is this correct? And to
yes, and Lalita Kunda.
Lalita Kund in Seva Kunj, and then from there the plan is to go to Imlitala.
Yes.
And then we'll see how we get on with our time as
yes.
to what may be the will of Providence for today. Yeah. So we're very happy to have our Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj leading us throughout all the Hare Katha and keeping our conception clear and straight. So let us begin with Kirtan, and first of all, Jai Saparika Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhavika Rasa Vihareju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Matan Mission of Vrindavan Ki Jai. And just as we look across the road, Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Memorial Building Ki Jai. And Jai Shri Vrindavan Chandra, the deity installed by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. So from our Chiang Mai Kirtan, full hall of Kirtan leaders, please a Maha Mantra and a Panchatattva Maha Mantra, and then 3 Hare Krishna Maha Mantras to take us from Seva Kunj, our temple in Seva Kunj, a few meters up the road to the Seva Kunj preserved area and to Lalita Kund there. So please, Kirtan, for us to all join. Shri
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Haribol. Maharaj's audio.
Yes, excuse me. So as we enter into the Seva Kunj compound, means where it is preserved and saved from being built on with concrete and bricks, etc. So we're coming into the like a preserved area, and if the government had not preserved it, we can understand that the whole area would be by now, built upon. But this is a little reminder that all of this area where we are now, and our temple, the Chaitanya Saraswati Math, Radha Damodar temple, the Radha Shyamasundar temple, this area is all Seva Kunj. It's not just this one garden which is preserved with the trees, etc. And so it's a reminder to us all, we must see beyond the buildings and understand that underneath this cover, very special things are eternally taking place. So we'll come into Seva Kunj, we'll turn left and do parikrama around this preserved area you can see on your screen there, and we'll come to that temple that you see in the center, just going out of screen. That is the temple which is beside Lalita Kund. So we'll come there, we'll take our seats. We're now taking our seats there, giving our obeisances to Lalita Kund, and taking seats and offering a nice seat there for Srila Goswami Maharaj to sit on. And no need for any microphones and amplifiers today. It is being, voice is being nicely carried to everybody, Maharaj. And this is a picture here of Lalita Kund.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Maharaj.
Lalita Devi ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. And why they're calling Seva Kunj, those divine pastimes take place there. We can even say the Rasa Lila, but it's called Seva Kunj because it's beyond our conception at present how that could possibly be seva or service, yet it is. And we know when Radharani, Braja Gopis, they're feeling separation from Krishna so much, and at one point that's in the Bhagavatam, Balaram is sent there. And he has some Rasa Lila with Braja Gopis. Vishwanath, other commentators point out it's a different group of gopis because some ontological concerns may arise. But Guru Maharaj says, Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu says that, so Baladev, he's doing Rasa Lila, and he said, and it's from, in his heart, it's an offering to Krishna. So seva, on both, Ekala Ishvara Krishna, Arsabritya. Saying there's one Ishvara ultimately, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Krishna, but all others are Sabritya. And this is in the Baladev chapter of Charitamritam in the beginning. So although he's the first other than Krishna, to use Guru Maharaj's word, he's not a competitor, he's a servitor. But his unique position allows for opposition, but sweet opposition. Or I think to repurpose the expression, the noble opposition. So because Baladev can sometimes disagree with Krishna or want to chart another course. And by extension, Shiva, when he's being praised in Brihad Bhagavatamritam by Narada, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, greatest devotee, and he's saying, oh, but said because I have these crazy disciples, they ask me for these boons and sometimes bring me in conflict with Krishna. He said, so my position is not so, and he said, and I'm ashamed to admit, but I wanted to be in a position greater than the Lord. I'm this kind of man. And Sanatana Goswami Prabhu says, don't listen to him, don't take it in that way. When he said he wanted a position greater than the Lord, what position is that? devotee, right? Whereas they have master, servant, but then there's also friendship. He said, but the devotee can become greater than Krishna, like Yashoda and others, where they think Krishna is dependent upon them. So when Shiva said a position greater than Krishna, he means devotee, but he's making it sound as though it's something, a fault on his part. But so seva in all circumstances, always seva. Sometimes Guru Maharaj called the spiritual world seva mayoyam loka. The whole spiritual world is constructed out of seva. And Guru Maharaj said when the conclusion of Kalyana Kalpataru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur signs his name as in the Namhata of Nityananda Prabhu, the marketplace of the holy name, sometimes he said this signed by Kedarnath, or Bhaktivinoda, an insignificant sweeper in the Namhata of Nityananda Prabhu. So Srila Saraswati Thakur said, if Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a sweeper in that zone, then consider me one of the straws in his broom, right? Because we know it in India, the way they have that broom that's comprised of so many straws and they bend over and sweep. We see that all the time. So he's saying, if Bhaktivinoda is presenting himself that way, then consider me one of those straws in the hand, the broom that's in the hand of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it reminded me of Trinadupi Sunichena, you know. And Guru Maharaj said, if we take it that this expression from Srila Saraswati Thakur is sincere, and we do, it is not just poetic or clever repartee, but a sincere expression of his heart, he said, then we can understand what is the unit of the construction of the Swarup in the spiritual world. The unit of the construction of the Swarup. What does he mean? Like our bodies, so many atoms, molecules. What's the unit there? Serving tendencies, service aspirations. One by one, gradually the Guru Maharaj said, like the rubbing of sandalwood. What happened? We see the stick of sandalwood is gradually dissipated as the sandalwood is converted into its essence and reveals that divine fragrance. So through the process of devotional service, dedication, and offering oneself, step by step, daily, all these service aspirations and spiritual practices, one by one, the mundane self is dissipating and the spiritual self is released. Jive Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas. So all service. So this significance that in the middle of Seva Kunj, right, is Lalita Kund, Lalita Saki. I've mentioned this is the Rupa Nuga line, but it's also indicated in Charitamritam, the term is used, Swarupa Nuga, Swarup Damodar. Because who is, in a sense, Rupa Goswami's boss, Sri Rupa's boss, Lalita Saki. So as Rupa is the leader of the juniors, Lalita Saki, how significant is she? Like we said, first other than Krishna, Radharani, then who? Anuradha. The one who's just next to, after Radha, Anuradha, Lalita Saki. Because I used to wonder, like, why is Swarup Damodar the secretary of Mahaprabhu? Well, when you hear that Swarup Damodar is Lalita Saki, then it starts making sense. Why? Because of the seva that Lalita Saki is rendering to Srimati Radharani in the upper world, that makes her uniquely qualified to assist Mahaprabhu when Radha Bhava Duty Subolita, when he's enveloped in the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. This is terra incognita for him, a previously unexplored world. He's only has, as Krishna, and all of this is a way of speaking about these things in a line of Guru Maharaj and our great acharyas, but he can only theoretically understand her position. Why? Because as Krishna is, as we always say, the supreme enjoyer. Adi Purusha can either mean, the original enjoyer or the original male, the predominating moiety, in the words of Srila Saraswati Thakur, whereas Srimati Radharani and her serving group called the predominated moiety, half. Moiety means half. So from the position of the predominator, he can only theoretically understand and on the basis of what he's observing. And he comes to that conclusion, what she's experiencing is 10 million times greater than what I'm experiencing. Not marginally better, not equally, but 10 million times greater. And it leads him to want to accept her position. But so it's unknown to him. Who is it? Well, two personalities it is fully known to. One being Gadadhar Pandit, right? The remainder, take away the heart and head, the remainder. Sometimes Guru says facsimile. And Gadadhar has that special seva also to Mahaprabhu and Puri. And on the Nilam Bodhi Tate Sada Suviraha Kepan Bitam Bandhavam. Also Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madhuraya Sanjeevayan Bhattiya, supplying the slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Gadadhar Pandit, of course, being Srimati Radharani, her and Guru Maharaj, the remainder after the heart and halo have been plundered. But the other person who's uniquely, singularly qualified to assist him when he's in the depths of Radha Bhav is Swarup Damodar, or Lalita Saki, because she renders that same service to Radharani in the spiritual world. So she now, it's inconceivable. Krishna, he's now completely enveloped in the heart of Srimati Radharani and experiencing separation from Krishna. Now he can actually taste what it's like. We told the Kirchor Gopinath pastime, and why we may think, why is Mahaprabhu so eager to taste that kheer? If he is Gopinath, as Krishna, remember Gopinath saying, Gopal and I are same, but different. But then he's also Krishna, Anta Krishna Bahir Gauram, Darshitangari Bhavam, according to Srila Seva Goswami. So didn't he already taste those things? Right? We offer the bhog to Krishna. We don't offer prasadam to Krishna. Right? It's such a simple thing, and in one sense, very obvious, but we don't want to say like, Krishna doesn't eat prasadam. No, Prabhu, but he doesn't. What is the song called in which we offer everything to Krishna? Bhog Arati, right? And another meaning of bhog is enjoyment, enjoying, right? That is Krishna's place. He is the only enjoyer. Not only like the original one, but there are a lot of other ones, but he started the whole enjoyment thing. No, he is the enjoyer, the supreme enjoyer. And that just, makes us perplexed. Right? Even devotees, perplexed, like one's person said to Saraswati, and us, what is our position? You have no position. You know, wow. You know, but then if we realize as part and parcel of Krishna, Krishna is ecstasy personified as he's enjoying. If we can become one in heart through seva, then more enjoyment than, and of a higher quality than we ever dreamed of or imagined will come to that. And I remember in a garden in Los Angeles, once Prabhupada was going through this sequence of, you know, controlling the senses and going on with your spiritual practices like a Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and he was going, you know, and when he got to Baba Bhakti, and I just remember he's sitting there and he goes, then enjoyment. You know, but we don't like to say it that way. But he felt comfortable enough to say, like, it's inconceivable the joy that comes to the devotees through seva. But we're so hardwired toward exploitation. We think we will only become happy, satisfied, fulfilled by acquiring, controlling, and consuming things that are lower than us, as opposed to offering ourselves in dedication to that which is higher. So Guru Maharaj said, we must learn the art of giving. Right? So the unique qualifications of Lalita Saki as Swarup Damodar to, so when Mahaprabhu as Radharani is feeling deep separation from Krishna, taking this sloka from the Bhagavatam, this song, this poetry, and sometimes intensifying, amplifying the intensity of that divine emotion, other times something that brings relief to the anguish of separation. But it is, so as a Swarupanuga, Srila Rupa Goswami, Lalita Saki's principal follower, is uniquely qualified to assess her qualities and unique characteristics. So as he has composed Radhastakam, he's also composed the Lalita Astakam. And we should say, so just think of it, there's 8 verses, this divine personality who's next to Radharani, Anuradha, right? How, and one sense, 8 is, that's a seemingly narrow framework in which to identify and express all these qualities. So, but among them, and there are many, each sloka is wonderful, but the first one, Hare Krishna, Dandavat, he wants to participate. I know, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So one of his keepers, all right, just grab him by his legs and drag him. All right, you know what to do. Oh, there we go. Hare, next life, K2. Well, I wish I had that kind of enthusiasm. Joy, stay on the side over there. You're participating. He just got too excited, you know. He should be. We all should be. I mean, I wish I was that eager. So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Vaishnava Thakur Tomar Kukur, Hare Krishna. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, when he's going to express in 8 slokas the unique qualities, characteristics of Lalita Saki. But the first verse is always very important. In any astakam, and the first verse always has to really sort of go to the heart of the matter and single out like the sort of the crest jewel of the qualities that are to be identified. And then other things will come from there. So the very first verse and very favorite is Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and everyone is Radha Mukunda Parasambhava Garma Bindu Nirmanchano Pakarani Kritadeha Laksham Utunga Sohrida Vishesha Vishat Pagalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. So he's saying, what separates her, in a sense, from everyone else? What makes her so unique? He's saying that Radha Mukunda Parasambhava Garma Bindu, if in their divine pastimes, she is so focused on Seva, in Seva Kunj, that if there's a drop of sweat to be detected, she will, Deho Laksham, take on 100,000 bodies, forms, to remove that, in other words, that there will be the least disturbance in that plane. She's not thinking to enter there and enjoy, but that no disturbance will come to their divine pastimes. And if necessary, I will expand myself 100,000 times to do that seva. And we may consider that, like if you have a soldier, we always hear, you know, they paid the ultimate price, meaning, you know, they gave their life for the cause. And everywhere around the world, there's some day to honor those who paid the ultimate price and giving their lives for the greater good of the country, that kind of thing. And so a soldier gives their life, right? But imagine a soldier who can turn into 1,000,000 soldiers. What kind of soldier is that? Rather than just die for the cause, who can expand into 1,000,000 soldiers for the cause? That Rupa Goswami is identifying that quality and characteristic. She will expand herself for service, and graciously by employing others. All of the service really comes from Srimati Radharani. Then her next, Lalita Saki, she's extending the service opportunities to others. And not in a, shall we say, a way that's optional. All of these intimate servitors of Srimati Radharani who appear in Gaur Lila, they're very intense and very exclusive. And we see that later in the Chaitanya Chandramritam of Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur. They're so riveted to the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and Radha Dasyam. Right? In one sense, they can't understand how anyone could opt for anything else. Right? So another sloka in the Lalita Astakam, he says, Yam kamapi brajakule brishabhanu jaya preksha sapaksha parivim anuradyamanam sadyastadisha gatanena kritartayantim devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. And Rupa Goswami's poetry is so beautiful because Lalita means graceful, elegant, beautiful. So that's the name. And he's going, Lalita, Lalitam, Sulalita, Lalitam Namami, using her name also as a descriptor for her inconceivable beauty and elegance. And saying that she is canvassing others in Vrindavan. So think about that. Normally we think of like, there's the conditioned souls, and then there's the liberated souls, and then representatives of liberated souls approach conditioned souls to try and convert them toward Krishna consciousness. But as Guru Maharaj says, Vrindavan is for the highest section of liberated souls. So who is she canvassing? How, if they're in Vrindavan, and we're talking about in the upper world also, the spiritual, she's canvassing others who are, we could say, eternal liberated associates of the Lord. She's canvassing them to join her group. And Guru Maharaj said, and sometimes they're also like sending a note, as they pass each other in the plane of giving a note, like, I also want to join your group. So her preaching or canvassing doesn't stop. It continues in that plane, right? And there is examples. We know in the case of Shyamananda Prabhu, whose place is located not too far, right? Probably within the area of Seva Kunj, according to what Madhusudan Maharaj just said. And back to the first verse, this other thing, it says pragalbam. Guru Maharaj translated that word as haughty, but it can mean like, how to say, bold, almost impertinent. And Rupa Goswami is saying, we don't see this as like being rough or a flaw in her personality, but we think it's very sweet. And what does he mean? That sometimes Radharani, deferring to Krishna, Lalita Saki feels that she should be stronger, and Lalita Saki is her advocate in the court of Krishna. Right? So if she feels that Krishna is not treating Srimati Radharani properly, he'll hear about it. And with great force and convincing and power, she's chastising Krishna. Think about that for a moment, right? Like, we're told, our whole life about being submissive and, humble and humbler than a blade of grass and be submissive, Prabhu, and surrendered souls and all this. And then you get to the spiritual world and there's like this inversion. Lalita Saki's chastising Krishna. She's turning to Radharani and say, don't let him talk to you like that. Trying to give her support, build her back up so she can go and duel with Krishna. And Rupa Goswami is saying, we don't see this as being rough or a flaw in her. Rather, we're seeing it's like very sweet and endearing, and we're cheering on Lalita Saki to advocate the position of Srimati Radharani. So he's expressed all of this in the first verse. So you realize we're hearing something here that you don't hear anywhere else. And it is not standard, it's not stereotypical, it's not generic, it's very specific and very revealing. Right? And what do we take away from that? That the greatest devotees, and we see this consistently, thematically throughout, they express the greatest eagerness and magnitude of earnestness for the least aspect of seva. In other words, if we want to interpret that drop, she who can't tolerate the drop of sweat as a disturbance. That means that's the least thing, and she's ready to expand herself into 100,000 forms to make sure there's no disturbance to their divine pastime. So the greatest magnitude of earnestness and eagerness for the least type of seva. And so, in consideration of these things, and as we continue on the parikrama, and it will continue tomorrow, another day, it will go on. And one of the places Madhusudan Maharaj suggested could happen a couple days from now, stay tuned, is Uchagaon. And Lalita Bar means the house of Lalita Saki. And it's so beautiful and so like mysterious, mystical on this hill. And there are so many steps, as it should be. It just seems so right that you have to ascend like very steep too. Very, and so you realize you're going to a place that is like so high, so wonderful, so special, and you're so fortunate to get that opportunity, surrounded by dancing peacocks. Never seen, the most peacocks I've ever seen are there and in Kadam Kandi. And of course, Barshana is all Radharani's place, also high up, high, inconceivably high. So that, when we were in Govardhan with Srila Gurudev, Dvaita Das Seva Kunj there, and it was announced like we'd be going to Uchagaon that morning, and then someone, just out of courtesy, asked if Srila Gurudev would also like to go. We knew he probably would not, but they just wanted to say, so Srila Gurudev, and he can graciously decline. But he revealed something very interesting, why he didn't want to go. And as we know, when Srila Saraswati Thakur was on the Brajamandal Parikrama many, many times with his disciples, but one particular time, he is engaged, well, all the time, but I'm making a reference to a particular instance. He is engaged in what Srila Guru Maharaj called Ruchi Pariksha. Just like Parikshit Maharaj means examiner, who examines. Ruchi Pariksha means to examine the taste. So such a qualified guru, I mean, it seems like an insult to say qualified, but meaning like descended from Goloka Vrindavan type qualified. And Guru is saying, the Swarup is gradually expressing itself to the eyes of such a personality. What I talked about before, this dissipation and gradual expression, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur can see the Swarup peeping, as it were. And he's examining the taste of his different disciples. And when it came to Srila Guru Maharaj, they're visiting so many places. What is, resonating in your heart? And Srila Guru Maharaj said, Kadam Kandi. And that's the place of Rupa Goswami. And we can just imagine what he's writing there and how divine that is. And I'm sure Srila Guru Maharaj could express many things about that. And that is one of the places where he was originally going to situate himself. Just think of that. That, in one sense, that was one of his first choices for Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. He was unable to get it. I think Krishna had other plans, the divine will. And we're very happy it ended up in the Aparad, Banjaner Pat, and Kolerganj. But anyway, so Saraswati Thakur went, he recognized that as being not just, I like this place, I like that kind of, but like in a deeply meaningful way and indicative of a particular level of internal taste of Srila Guru Maharaj. So a few years later, they're on the Brajamandal Parikrama again, and with reference to Kadam Kandi, Srila Saraswati Thakur says to Guru Maharaj, oh, your place. And Guru Maharaj said, I thought, what? My place? And then he realized, oh, from before, and now he's saying, your place. So Guru Maharaj took that as very significant, and as we stated yesterday, the Rupa Nugadara, it's thematically consistent, right? Not just random anecdotes. There's a path. So Srila Gurudev, the place that resonated with him is Lalita Bar, Uchagaon, that place of Lalita Saki. And he told us at the time, and he said he had such a divine experience when they were there, something very deep and divine in his heart when he was there. He said that, I am afraid if I were to go again, it would spoil that. So I want to keep that with me forever, so I'll not go. And then after hearing that, I was wondering like, oh, should we go? Should we, but he said, no, you go, but this is why I will not. And when we think of those qualities of Lalita Saki as expressed by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, we cannot help but see how they are equally applicable to Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj and his way of serving the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj. The same thing. The greatest amount of magnitude of eagerness and earnestness for the least aspect of seva. Sometimes Srila Gurudev would say, once I know it's service to Guru Maharaj, then I'm all in. I'm sold on that. As soon as I know that, and it could be cleaning the toilet at the mat, which he's done. It's not like a theoretical example. He's done that seva. Right? Madhavendra, Ishwara Puri is glorified for doing this sort of seva to Madhavendra Puri, Narottam Thakur, for Lokanath Goswami. Gurudev had that mood for anything connected with the service of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, taking that it's service to Srila Guru Maharaj. And in the Pragalbam, if anyone is not properly appreciating Srila Guru Maharaj, then like fire, Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj is there to defend the dignity of Srila Guru Maharaj, maintain the prestige of Srila Guru Maharaj, and gives support, shastric support and reference for anything that Guru Maharaj says. As we will see at the Imlitala, when Guru Maharaj wrote that tree, Imli means tamarind tree, and Mahaprabhu will mention something about that soon. But Guru Maharaj composed the sloka, and these God brothers are sitting there trying to figure out, it's saying when Mahaprabhu came there and sat under that tree. And they can't decipher the sloka. And Srila Gurudev, who's very young at the time, Gorindu Brahmachari, just came down from his Badrinath Yatra, Kirtan Yatra, and they're sitting there, these senior elder God brothers, trying to decipher the sloka. They're not sure what it means. And Srila Gurudev, he goes like, well, I know what it means. What? You're just a boy. What do you know? He said, here's what I know. I know that whatever my Guru Maharaj expresses is perfect. That I know. And they're thinking, well, you can't argue with that. Well, you're his disciple, but you're so young, and because this can't be right. What would 954? That doesn't 954. What You say, no, you don't understand. Then Gurudev starts explaining to them the sloka, and that when the Vaishnava Kavis, the Vaishnava poets, sign their name and give the date of composition, their system, it's like encryption, is they use certain, how do you say, words to indicate numbers. Like, Ratna can be Tri Ratna for 3. It could be a 5. It could be a 9. Pancharatna, Navaratna. And Ved could mean a 3 or a 4, because there's 4 Vedas. Sometimes we say Tri Vedi, 3 Vedas. And this way, there are words that can be used to indicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So in there, it says Ratneshu Vedanite. And they're thinking like Ratna, jewel, Vedas, what jewel of the Vedas? Ratna, Isha means supreme. They're going like that. And Gurudev, no, you don't understand. It says Ratneshu Vedanite. When you reverse this, it becomes 459. So it's saying in the year of 459, on this particular calendar, that's when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and sat beneath the assembly tree in remembrance of some particular, how do you say, this decision he took in Vrindavan in the upper world. And they were like astonished, how can this boy know that? So you could say little haughty, and why? In defense of his Guru Maharaj. Right? He's not shy from asserting the supremacy of the position of his Gurudev. So, and then seeing his own stated preference for Uchagaon and Lalita, house of Lalita Saki, and demonstrating those qualities. So Guru Maharaj is upstairs writing Premadama Deva Stotram, you know, all of his, you know, the Gayatri Bhasya, and what later became Search for Sri Krishna, Sri Guru and His Grace, Golden, all those things, Golden Volcano, Premadama Deva Stotram. And Gurudev is downstairs managing Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, and like Lalita Saki, making sure that not the least disturbance can go to the plane of Guru Maharaj, so that he can go on with his divine thinking and mining these Siddhantic jewels from his divine heart. So as Srila Saraswati Thakur in his concluding remarks of the Chaitanya Charitamritam, he's saying when he looks deeply at Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he's seeing like Gadadhar and Srup Damodar, and by extension Radharani and Lalita, and taking that Hapaniya, Gurudev liked to think of it as Barshana, and so did the God brothers, like that to Guru Maharaj's Radha, he is the Lalita. The same type of seva, the same type of closeness and nearness and spiritual substance. Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Lalita Saki ki jai, Lalita Kunda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
And if we can go to the Imlitala.
Yes, Maharaj, but we can't go silently. We have to have the Harinam Sankirtan engine running. 2 Mahamantras, kindly.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let us first come before the deities. And I believe the deities are Guru Gauranga Radha Gopinath in the temple. And to their left, Sri Sri Gauranitai. So we'll first come into the temple, give our obeisances, and as always, a little dakshin, some contribution for the Seva. We are coming on parikrama in Seva. We'll do 1 parikrama around the back of the deities to circumambulate the deities and come in front of the temple. And in front of the temple, there is the protected Imlitala, the tamarind tree under which Mahaprabhu sat, and which we'll hear some discussion about very soon. And then let's come, as we pass around the tree, we'll see to our left, as we pass around the tree, we'll see the Jamuna. And this is where Mahaprabhu would sit under this tree and see the waves of the Jamuna. And in Premadama Deva Stotram, then Srila Guru Maharaj saying that Mahaprabhu never leaves from this place. So we know it's a special place. We have a special leader to tell us about it. So let us all take nicely some soft seat in front of the Imlitala, and in the corner with many dioramas on the walls, and let us arrange a little Vyasa-san and asan nicely for Maharaj, and humbly asking you can, Maharaj, tell us a little bit as you wish in this beautiful place.
Hare Krishna. When the Brajamandal Parikrama reached Radha Kunda, which we discussed previously, one disciple, as they're going to different places, one disciple of Saraswati Thakur, one sannyasi, said to him, with reference to the Rasa Leela, that as we told, Gandharva, Radharani, singing and dancing to keep Krishna attracted. And after she displayed unparalleled superior singing and dancing, left in a huff. And then we know Krishna, Radhamadaya Hridaya Tatyaja Braja Sundari, taking Radharani in his heart, he tyag is the word, he's left, the billion or trillion other gopis. And this is the, as Guru Maharaj says, quality gives us relief from mathematics. Understand? Quantity, trillion. Quality, Radharani, gives us relief from that. She's superior to a trillion of the others, and the others are inconceivably qualified to the nth degree. And still, she's more qualified than all put together. But in their defense, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tabirya Eja Nija Rupataya Kalavi Goloka Eva Navisatya Kilatma Bhuto Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. They're all extensions and expansions of her. The expansions of Radharani are the Lakshmis of Vaikuntha, the queens of Dwarka, and the gopis of Vrindavan. And Srila Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj said that, and the jivas and Madhura Rasa come from her halo. Right? As general thing, Brahma Jyoti, that, but more specifically, the Anga Jyoti of Radharani, he said that they're part of, and don't think of it as like a light, all conscious, spiritually conscious, right? Inconceivable. But so Krishna goes searching for her, and the others are left to drown in an ocean of separation, but to also acknowledge the superior qualifications of the one that Krishna left them all for. And so far so good. But then that devotee says, but Prabhupada, we see that after some time, because they're going, and then Radharani says, oh, I'm so tired from all the singing and dancing. If you want to go any further, you have to carry me. Then Krishna, carrying her, and she's saying, so is anyone as fortunate as me? And then Krishna sets her down, and her eyes are closed, and she's thinking about her good fortune, unparalleled. And when she opens her eyes, Krishna has vanished. And then she's plunged into the depths of separation. And when the devotee mentioned this, Guru Maharaj said that Srila Saraswati Thakur became enraged and saying, why have you mentioned this? There is no devotion to be found there. Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Doyata Das, right? Can't tolerate something that even remotely appears to tarnish her position or make it less than it is. She must always and forever be in the supreme position, in the primary position with Krishna in the secondary position. That's the only acceptable configuration for Srila Saraswati Thakur and his followers. So as Mahaprabhu is a celebration of that very fact. Right? So then everyone becomes quiet, like, shh, don't disturb Prabhupada. We're in this divine place. Now you're, upsetting him. They, all right. Then they go on and just drop it. Right? But Guru Maharaj, ever the perfect servitor, assistant of Srila Saraswati Thakur. He has to resolve this matter. He can't leave it. So he said, in reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he came to understand that Krishna had not abandoned her at all, but he was so astonished to see how much love and affection and self-sacrifice and self-giving she is toward him, and the effects of the sound of his flute, his holy name upon her. He thought, if it's like this when we are together, knowing the principle, Bahye Bisajalahoy Bitore Anandamoy Krishna Premer Adbhuta Charit, that separation, the puts the maximum amount of pressure on the heart in love and affection. And so in separation, the heart achieves greater depth and yields a superior, the most superior type of love or Krishna Prem. So he thought, if I separate hide myself from her, then I can witness what she expresses, feeling separation from me. So this tree, he's hiding under this tree. And seeing what he sees astonishes him. And as Rupa Goswami says, aparam kasyapi pranay janam vrindasya kutuki rasotstamam ritva madaram upabhoktam kamapiya rucham swam avavredutim tadiyam sad chaitanya devaskritir atitaram na kripayatu. Kutuki, this awakens the curiosity in him to what would it be like to be her, I can understand theoretically, but to taste these things and experience what she's experiencing, I would have to become her. So he plunders her heart, and the radiance of that heart is the halo, and becomes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So of course, he will come here and recognize, oh, here's where I made this decision to take her position and descend in this world and experience Krishna consciousness, right? How wonderful is Krishna consciousness? That we always say, oh, Krishna's supreme enjoyer, and we have no position, and I get it, he gets everything, and we get to take the prasad, you know, right? As Mahaprabhu, he wanted to take that prasad, right? Because only a devotee can taste the prasadam. Krishna is eating the bhog and it's becoming prasadam. What is the mysterious ingredient of prasadam, as indicated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the Antya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam? He's saying, Krishna adaramritam. It's touched the lips of Krishna. The nectar of the lips of Krishna are the secret ingredient in prasadam, and that can only be relished by devotees. So he's saying, it's so wonderful. So as Gopinath, he may have already tasted the kheer, but as Mahaprabhu, he was eager to taste the prasad of Gopinath, which only a devotee can taste and relish that experience. And the Bhogarti, how beautiful it is when it says that Sri Krishna Prasad, that Dhanishta takes Krishna's remnants to Radharani and her friends, and they all sit there and relish the prasadam. It's touched the nectar of the lips of Krishna. That's the unique position. So how great is Radharani's Krishna Prem? She's converted Krishna into a devotee. And he's come to tell us as Mahaprabhu, he's the only person who can legitimately, without question, give this determination that being a devotee is better than being Krishna. Because everyone else saying, well, I don't know, supreme enjoyer and all those things. That is, devotees do not think like that. Understand, there's no parallel. Krishna wants to embrace the position of a devotee, and not only devotee, but Srimati Radharani. There's no inverse where the devotees want to take the position of Krishna. Then there's no possibility of devotion or service. They consider that horrible, horrifying. Right? And we'll say, no, but I thought in separation, it says one gopi is playing the flute and another one said, I am Kaliya. I mean, I've come to punish you, Kaliya. And another, that's just the madness of separation. They're imitating some pastimes of Krishna because they've gone mad. And it's a way of remembering him. But they're not actually ever taking his position. They always and only want to serve, like Baladev. Even when he's doing Rasa Leela, it's an offering from his heart. So the Krishna consciousness, the form, as Guru Maharaj said, the form of love of Krishna is Srimati Radharani. And Gurudev saying, Tungamani Mandire means her heart is like a lighthouse of Krishna Prem, illuminating the whole spiritual world. And what is that? The Seva Mayoyam Loka, revealing all the service. And she, through Lalita Saki and Rupa Manjari, extending that service to all others. And Guru is saying, you know, Sri Radha Padasevanamritamaho Tadatum Isho Bhavan. Oh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is your gift to the world. Hare Krishna, Sri Imlitala ki jai.
Jai.
And now, Maharaj, I think we should go to the Bhajan Kutir, or is it also Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur?
I believe it's both, Maharaj. They say it is his Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, it's going to take a little longer because it's further to go. So we need 3 Mahamantras from the team with the Mridanga and Kartals, kindly. And we're going to go along the Parikrama path backwards. Okay,
but when we do this, are we going past Madana Mohan or we'll still be before?
We'll go past Madana Mohan.
Then let us go to Madana Mohan now.
Okay, let us do that.
Yeah.
So still it takes 3 Mahamantras to get there.
All right, Maharaj, you know that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
So here we have to go up the steep steps to the top of the hill. And this Madana Mohan temple of Sanatana Goswami, it is like iconic for Vrindavan. We'll come in front of the Pratibhu Murtis of the replacement Murti of Madana Mohan. And then we'll go around the back as on our way of parikrama around the temple. And on the grass, we'll sit behind the temple and again set down some sitting places and humbly ask Maharaj to elucidate something about where we are.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna. Are we sitting?
We are sitting.
Right,
comfortably. Okay. Now you may begin.
Jayatam Sudato Pango Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Sri Radha Madana Mohano Vairagya Yug Bhakti Rasa Prayatne Abhayayam Mam Anabiptam Amdam Kripam Buddhi Yat Paraduka Duki Sanatana Stvam Prabhum Asrayami. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugo Sri Jiva Go Palako. Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, like the leader of the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, the others, they're seeing Sanatana Goswami Prabhu as like their guru, the most senior, and like we say, what is it? Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri, like and the paramount position. And his deity is Madana Mohan. Guru Maharaj says he is the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya and the Sambandhagyan Acharya. And through the medium of Brihad Bhagavatamritam, he's showing all the gradations of the different levels of devotion. Whereas in the Upadeshamritam, Rupa Goswami, Vaikundaj, Janito, Bharab, Madhupuri, Tatrapi Rasotsava, Guru Maharaj says, in one leap, he goes from Vaikuntha to Vrindavan. But Sanatana Goswami is the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya. He's showing incrementally, step by step, in this world, in the higher aspects of this world, in the higher planetary systems, on every step of the way, he's delineating the path of devotion, culminating in Vrindavan. And his deity, Madana Mohan, we're told that deity, remember the Goswamis, how will they keep deities? We see like Govardhan Shila, something very small, they can carry with them. They're staying under a tree, different tree every other day or so, a few days under a particular tree. How can they care for, a life-size deity? So that's not part of his program until this divine lady who was the deity of Madana Mohan was in her care. Madana Mohan appears to her and tells her about Sanatana Goswami Prabhu and that she should deliver him to Sanatana Goswami Prabhu. And we can imagine how heartbreaking that is. But at the same time, Madana Mohan doesn't just appear to anyone. This lady must have a supremely devotional heart, and of course she will do this seva because, as Gurudev says, it's the wills of Krishna. Right? So now Sanatana Goswami has the responsibility for this deity. He's living on that hill where the beautiful temple is now. And you can see where the Jamuna river used to flow. And we're told, Guru Maharaj said, understand the Archan, not even, the deity worship of the Goswamis, he said, is bhajan, means direct service. They're not sadhakas in the ordinary, the way we practice these things, right? Theirs is direct service. So that means what? Sometimes Sanatana Goswami, Madana Mohan is speaking to him. And Sanatana Goswami is speaking to Madana Mohan right away. If anyone else does that, we dismiss them out of hand as Sahajya imitationists, right? But not in the case of Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, right? And as he has nothing, in the Kopins, writing Brihad Bhagavatamritam, other divine literatures, and he takes some attar and chapati flour, makes some balls, and we've seen in India, they like throw them into the fire, rotisserie, rotate them, pull them out, brush the ashes off, and take that. Right? So they are cooked, but not flattened out and just. And he's taking that and offering to Madana Mohan, and he's taking the prasad. And we're told after a while, Madana Mohan saying, Sanatan Prabhu. I understand renunciation and all these things, but a little bit of salt would just, make this more palatable. Remember, I'm not taking prasadam, you're offering me. So put a little salt on it, So Sanatana Goswami saying, what do you think this is? A restaurant? Or like I'm gonna have salt? I don't have such luxuries here as salt, right? Did you hear the Goswami Astakam? Tyaktva Turnamashesha, how we're living. And so as the wills of Krishna would have it, a barge full of salt dry docked in the Jamuna, and they don't know what to do. Sanatana Goswami Prabhu knows the river very well. He comes out, gives them some advice how to undo their dilemma, and their barge is free. And they're thinking like, how can we express our gratitude for your help? And it's a barge of salt. So, when the infinite is reciprocating the devotion in the heart of a devotee, Krishna's way is infinite. We give little from our side, and then the infinite comes in response. Like we're talking Mahaprabhu, when he would distribute prasad, he just tries to put a little on each plate. It's enough for 4 men. That's his style. He's the infinite. So here, now a barge of salt. And you say, well, so they give Sanatana Goswami Prabhu a lifetime supply of salt. So now when he makes those little chapati balls, little bit of salt, giving the Madana Mohan, much better, very palatable now, and appreciating too much. Then that a little time goes by, and then he's saying, Sanatan, what would really be nice is a little ghee, right? Just, we got the salt, now with a little bit of ghee, then. And Guru Maharaj said, then Sanatana Goswami Prabhu goes, oh, now I see what you're doing. You're feeding me. And Sanatana Goswami Prabhu never likes to receive service. So he's a little ashamed and saying, oh, I've been tricked. You're a trickster. Because he's saying, a little bit of salt, a little bit of ghee. It's for Sanatan. So how, and Krishna there seeing his devotee like this, and knowing that his devotion is such, pure devotion, Guru Maharaj said, is such that that devotee will not allow a pinprick through which any remuneration can pass, right? So, he said, that's why our strategy should be to get the service of that devotee, because that's what Krishna wants to do, but he's unable to. He said, so then if you serve that devotee, how pleased Krishna will be with you. You're doing the very service that he himself would like to do. And in another instance, when Sanatana Goswami Prabhu's birthday came and Rupa Goswami wanted to offer something nice, because they don't normally, as we see, Raghunath Das taking buttermilk in a leaf cup, so Rupa Goswami comes with some, like a pot of sweet rice, nice milk cooked down, and is giving to Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, and Sanatana Goswami saying, when he tastes it, it has this inconceivable yet unmistakable quality. Remember, he is the Rasik Vaishnav, accept no substitute. This taste, he's a connoisseur of rasa, and he knows, he has his suspicion, and he asks Rupa Goswami, and he knows how he's living, where did you get this milk? And he said, oh, from, one of these girls in Yavat, the nearby village. Sanatana Goswami said, find that girl. And Rupa Goswami goes there, the girl cannot be found. And when he comes out, he said, no one knows of her. I described everything, no one knows. And then Sanatana Goswami is like, he's devastated. And he said, whom our lives is an aspiration to serve her holy lotus feet. We have accepted service from her because it was Srimati Radharani. Right? And then Sanatana Goswami is very upset. He's run off and disgusted with himself. And sometimes there are areas like these chattis where they can like lie there, sleep, and we're told there's a man nearby. And Sanatana Goswami, there's a fire ignited in him that is so intense that the heat emanating from his body and his remorse for this event, they're creating blisters on the body of the person next to him. And he's blistering what's radiating from Sanatana Goswami Prabhu. And in this instance, Srila Guru Maharaj said, and Guru Maharaj can say these things, and we can repeat what Guru Maharaj says most of the time. And he said, here Sanatana Goswami shows a superior position to even Madhavendra Puri in this sense, that whereas he got the seva from Gopinath, stealing the kheer, and said here, Sanatana Goswami cannot tolerate, will not allow himself to be served. It's anathema to him. Right? That is the pure devotional line of Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, and delineated in the pages of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, and where he shows, what is it? This mutual appreciation society. Narada praising a devotee, that devotee deferring that praise to someone they consider to be an actual devotee while not thinking of themselves in that way. So he goes from Shalagram worshipping Brahmins to Puri to Indra, the king of heaven. His little brother is Vamandev. Indra says, sends him to Brahma because he's Atmabhu, comes from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, a lotus flower atop. And Brahma sends him to Shiva, because Brahma said, I'm so busy managing the universe, I don't have time to meditate. Right? So, but Mahadev is living under an 800-mile wide, kilometer wide banyan tree, where there's not even the sound of birds, it's totally quiet, and only covered in ashes, totally naked, covered in ashes. He said no disturbance comes to him. Narada goes to Shiva, as I said before, Shiva lamenting that my crazy disciples bring me in conflict with Krishna, and so, but really, you should go to, I appreciate Prahlad Maharaj. So Brahma represents Karma Misra Bhakti, Shiva Jnana Misra Bhakti, Prahlad Shuddha Bhakti, the beginning. Nasabritra Savaivanik. When Nrsingadev offers him a boon, Prahlad saying, I'm not serving you for in exchange for something. I'm not a businessman. I'm an aspiring servitor. Right? So that's why it's considered pure devotion. But Prahlad says, but by your grace, Gurudev, when he arrives, Guru Maharaj said, Narada is singing the praise of Prahlad Maharaj, and he's going, Gurudev, stop. I'm one of your insignificant disciples. It's not good for the Guru to praise the disciple so much. So then he said, I by your grace, Gurudev, I can remember my Lord under all these trying circumstances, smaranam. But I rather appreciate the position of Hanuman, who's got active service for his Lord Ram. He goes to see him, taking Ram Nam. Hanuman jumps up. They have a little Ram Nam kirtan. praising Hanuman, and Hanuman's devastated by separation. He's got his deity of Ramachandra. And Narada said, but he's appeared again. Because from his point of view, Ramachandra. So he's appeared again. That's Krishna. And he's in Dwaraka. Come on, And Hanuman said, oh, a monkey and Dwaraka, not really compatible. I do appreciate the Pandavas and the intimacy, their friendship, but I prefer to stay here. I can't withdraw the lotus feet of Ramachandra from my heart, and sends him in praise of the Pandavas. Yudhisthira saying, why do you praise us? If anyone sees our pastimes, they will think that being a devotee of Krishna means a lifetime of troubles. So and Narada said, no, what we learn from your pastimes is when the devotees are in trouble, that Krishna will save them. Well, but do you see him here? No, he's with the Yadavas. Sends them to the Yadavas, enters the Sudharma assembly, and they're everyone's there staring at a doorway through which Krishna will walk, but he's not there yet. So people they talk about meditation, thinking about different things, focusing on something. Think of that, the doorway through which, Krishna will come through. Can you look away from that doorway for a second? Can you become distracted from that doorway? Can you think of anything else? They know Krishna's going to walk through that door any moment now. He's praising them. Krishna, such friendly dealings with you and intimate and doing your bidding even. They say, yes, true. But who's on the other side of the door? Where Krishna is? Uddhava. So he's showing that the natata priyatama atmayonirna shankara, that Krishna himself is not Brahma, not Shiva, not Sankarshan, not Goddess Sri, is as dear to me as you are, Uddhava. So they go open the door and there's Uddhava. And what does Uddhava say? And Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, twice. The end of the first part of Brihad Bhagavatamritam, end of the second part. Asamaho charanareno jushamahang shang brindavane kimapi goma latosadinam. After seeing the Braja, Radharani and Braja Gopis, my heart's aspiration, really I want the dust of their holy lotus feet, and they won't give it to me. I won't even ask. I know they won't give it. It's because they're so respectful. Uddhava from Dwaraka, Uddhava, Krishna's Uddhava, saying, but if I have an atomic presence in that soil, then when Radha Padman Kitatam Vrindavan Jaranam, what is Vrindavan? We're on the Brajamandal Parikrama. What is the most identifying trait or characteristic of Vrindavan? Is the imprint of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. That Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. So Uddhava was saying, if I would be in that soil, then when that imprint comes, some of the dust from her holy lotus feet would come upon me like an abhishek, consecrating my existence. So twice he ends up in the same place, singing the praise of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis. And his deity, Madana Mohan, breaks the stranglehold that lust has upon the heart. Madan, right, means Cupid. Like Freud said, the whole world is running on eros, the erotic principle. So has a stranglehold upon everyone. But Madan, so Madan means Cupid, Madan Mohan means the one who's so beautiful and seductive and attractive can bewilder Cupid. Normally everyone's bewildered by Cupid, but Madan Mohan's bewildering Cupid, right? So Guru Maharaj said, and that's why it's the first deity, and must be, because he can break that stranglehold that lust has upon the heart. And he's saying, he's alluding to Govinda and Gopinath, this possibility, breaking that here, and this by this attraction, this possibility of these sort of divine sweet pastimes with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srimati Radharani and Braja Gopis. Jai Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
I'd like to do one more place, which would be the Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir. Did we already? Oh yeah, we said we were going to go.
Right,
Yes.
Maharaj. So I think just one no, we have to have a minimum of two. Two Maha mantras. That'll get us there.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai, Srila Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Next to, and you can tell Maharaj, next to the Kadamba tree.
Of Kaliya Dhamma.
Yeah, I mean, it's behind that.
Right. So we've come down the back steps of the temple behind the Madana Mohan temple down to the Parikram path, and we've come like the reverse way along the Parikram path, very short distance. That's why only two Mahamantras. And then we've come just inside off the track of the Parikrama path, and we'll have given our obeisances to a deity of Krishna there, and to the place which is known as the Kaliya Ghat, where Krishna danced on the heads of the Kaliya serpent. So there is a very ancient tree there we come to circumambulate and give honor for this pastime of Lord Krishna. And then we just step back a little bit and then go some narrow steps behind a very humble but sweet Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi of Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur. And again, we come, give a little pranami, circumambulate, and then we'll be seated at the front. Usually Goswami Maharaj will sit on the plinth of the temple, and we'll all sit on the area in front. And there's plenty of room for us all, so there's no need to crowd around. Okay, we'll hear very... And the pujaris here always seem to be very kind, and we feel very home here in front of the temple of Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur.
Hare Krishna. And we know that that Kadamba tree, that when Kaliya was poisoning the lakes of that area, the Jamuna, it's called Kaliya Hrad, that it was bad for the cows, bad for the birds would fly over and drop dead because of the poisonous vapors. It was a horrible thing. And Kaliya is there, this like 1,000 hooded serpent. We're told 100 of his heads are like principal. And he has mystic power, and he has this mystic city. He can make palaces out of water, knows how to construct things out of water. So he has a water palace underneath, and just everyone's just had it. They're fed up with Kaliya and his antics, and so one day Krishna leaves his house and goes down to the banks of the Jamuna, and we're told, Rupa Goswami said, before he jumps in, he adjusts the belt on his dhoti, because he can understand this is going to be, like a wrestling match struggle, right? And again, how sweet that is. Like, he's omnipotent. Why should he have to do that? Or he can just like think it and it'll happen. No, he adjusts his belt. And the devotees like the way he does that. The way the fingers move and the tightness, it's all a prakrita. So, and he's just saying, you, Kaliya, what are you doing? Poisoning this. And Krishna jumps in the water and starts like making waves, and going, who's disturbing me? What is this? And sees Krishna there splashing water on him, insulting him, and they fight. And then Kaliya is coiled around Krishna. That's Yoga Maya, right? Creating the drama, the intensity. Again, why? For the heart. So the hearts, they're already full of prem, but how can you make it experience more intense prem? By putting Krishna in a difficult situation. And what type of difficult situation? Life-threatening. So Krishna, who's their life and soul, is in a life-threatening situation. Right? And really, it's not like you say, oh, it's a play. We read the Krishna book. We know how it ends. Not like that. It's real. Right? They don't know how this ends. They're under the influence of Yoga Maya. They've forgotten he's the personality of Godhead. They've forgotten the ending to this pastime. And it ends in various ways at various times. So it's very intense. Their heart, what are we told? Like, what is it? Prana. Praneshwar, Praneshwari, is about to die before them. And we're told when they can't find Krishna, they're wondering where he is. Like we're talking about the footprints of Radharani. We're told the footprints of Krishna, no living being in Vrindavan and no person will ever step on them or erase them. It's a treasure in the soil of Vrindavan, the Chintamani soil of Vrindavan. So man, where there's a footprint of Krishna, like these are devotees. They'll fall down on their hands and knees in ecstasy, worshiping the discovered footprints of Krishna in Vrindavan. But they can also see if they're going in a particular direction and they follow them down to the Jamuna River and see, discover, imagine how happy they are. Oh, there's Krishna's, and then they see he's in the coils of Kaliya being squeezed, the life being squeezed out of him. And they're like, oh, Nanda, Yashoda, faint, they're fainted on the riverbank. Devotees, other devotees are fainting. Cows are crying and screaming, And Balaram comes and tells Krishna, he's saying, what are you doing to your devotees? He's saying, this isn't the Ramayana or some other epic where there's all this fighting, these are your dear Brijbasi devotees. You got, stop it, or I will, that kind of thing. And, so Baladev's given the order, bring this pastime to a close, And Krishna, all right, then Krishna starts expanding. Kaliya's losing his grip, and then what does Krishna do? He frees himself and then starts dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. And although Krishna's lotus feet are inconceivably soft, according to the estimation of the Braja Gopis as expressed in various prayers, right? When he's dancing on Kaliya, and we're told all the dances there are, like the Bharatanatyam, but every dance you can imagine that's interesting, Krishna is the source of all these dances. He's doing that. And we know particularly the Bharatanatyam is like, this heavy foot pounding. So even though his lotus feet are so soft, and Kaliya's heads are adorned with so many jewels, like rubies, that his lotus feet are pulverizing those rubies. They're turning into powder. And then that jewel powder is entering the Jamuna and it has this beautiful rosé color, right? So many rubies pulverized. So it's looking very beautiful also. And while he's doing that, Kaliya's vomiting poison, right? He's being kicked in the head over and over and over, and he's like vomiting all this poison. And his wives are and they're looking and they're going, Oh, how fortunate our husband is. Very simple-hearted ladies. Jnana Shunya Bhakti. Yes, what is it? Think of the verse. Yad Vanchana Sri Lalanat Shratapo Vihaya Kamam Suchitam Bridambrita. Can't remember the beginning, but tas yes, anyway, they're saying the goddess Sri, she what do you say, executed austerities in the Tapovan for lifetimes to get the lotus feet and trying to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. And here our husband, who was so offensive previously, he can't separate the lotus feet of Krishna from his head, which is what so many others aspire for. So how fortunate he is, and at Krishna's lotus feet means it knocks some sense into him, and then his wives offered so many wonderful prayers, and then Kaliya offered so many prayers, concluding with, because Baladev had said, if you want to fight with a snake, I have my Ananta expansion, we're ready to go at any time. But Kaliya and his prayers said that in the future, if you ever need a carrier, I'm available. I would love to have that seva. And Sanatana Goswami says, when we said the Leela doesn't always go the same way, so sometimes when Akrura comes to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, the chariot is on the back of Kaliya, and they go on the Jamuna River. So Kaliya is that there's some rata there, and they go via the river to Mathura. To show it has different modifications in Nitya Leela, so it's eternally fresh. Hare Krishna. And when we were there one time, these girls of Vrindavan go there, and you can see they're from I'd say around 4 years old to 18, and as a little group, and they go there every day and sing these songs about Krishna, because that's also the Kadamba tree where he climbs up, steals the clothes of the Braja Gopis and different things. And they sing all these very sweet songs to Krishna. And we were singing Yasamati Nanda, they waited, and then they started singing their songs and bring little candles, ghee, and flowers. And what I saw, the abject joy in their faces when they saw us. And the reason is because they feel like Krishna is theirs. He belongs to them. Right? We're told one thing is to think you belong to Krishna. It's called Grita Sneha, right? By Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And but superior to that, Madhu Sneha of Radharani and her. So Grita Sneha is when you think, I'm Krishna's. But Madhu Sneha, we're told, is a deeper type of affection. Not to say that that's wrong, that's correct. But deeper is the thing. Krishna is mine. Krishna belongs to me. And they think like that. And their happiness is in seeing that we are praising and worshiping their Krishna. So they couldn't be happier. See, like, oh, look, they've come from so far and they're worshiping our Krishna. Makes them extra happy. And as Maharaj told, just behind that is the Bhajan, Kutir, and Samadhi of Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur. And as Srila Gurudev said, for a little bit of context, he's saying the seva that Rupa Goswami performs in Mahaprabhu's line, Prabhodananda Saraswati could do that. He could also write all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. He's qualified to do everything. But why does he somewhat go into the background or retreat or ask that he not be mentioned? Is that his humility, abject humility, and also in Krishna world is Astasaki Tunga Vidya. So think of that. One of the Astasakis, Sri Rupa, leader of the juniors, the Manjaris. So there's some specific reason why it must be Sri Rupa. Guru Maharaj will say maximum benefit. And that we've addressed at various times. Radharani, out of gratitude to her servitors, giving them a taste of Mahabhav, which is beyond the constitutional capacity of Jiva souls to experience or to taste. But Astasaki Tunga Vidya, Prabhodananda, we mentioned, when Mahaprabhu relishing Krishna Karnamritam, 300 verses in praise of Krishna, Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur writes a parallel of like 270, 300 verses in praise of Radharani, beginning with that sloka, Nindantam Pulakot Karena Bikasam Nipa Prasunachchavim Prodikritva Bujadvayam Hari Hari Uchay Vedantam Muhu Nittantam Drutamasra Nirjara Chaye Sinchantam Urvitalam Gayantam Nija Parisadai Parivritam Sri Gaura Chandram Nama, praising Mahaprabhu, right? So all about Radharani, but beginning with the praise of Mahaprabhu. And there he gives that verse as well. Yasya kadapi vasanantala kelanota danyati danya pavanena kritartamani yogendram durga magati madhusudanopi tasya namosa brishabhanu vubodhi shepi. We said before that real devotion is appreciated where there's the greatest magnitude of appreciation for the least connection. That's how, not ostentatious displays of achievement, but the inverse. Devotion is measured in the inverse. So the greatest magnitude of appreciation for the least connection. So when he wants to show how great is Radharani, what does he do? He's saying, Krishna, if that Krishna, Yogendram Durga Magati Madhusudanopi, the yogic kings are aspiring to have a glimpse, if they're fortunate, right, through Paramatma to Krishna. Right? Very, Durga means very difficult, very rarely achieved, a glimpse of that Krishna. But if they could see that Krishna, and what his actual position is, he's saying that Krishna, when Radharani is moving in the plain of Vrindavan and her sweet service, if some of the breeze from her garment will come upon Krishna, just the breeze, right? That Krishna says, Danyati Danya Pavanena Krita. It's like, I have achieved the most valuable treasure. See, least connection, greatest amount of appreciation. So he's using Krishna's appreciation for her to express how great she is. And then, so then what is his conclusion? He's saying, then, Tasya namostu vrishabhanu bhuvodi shepi. Then what will be my position and appreciation? The direction in which she appeared is worshipable to me. The direction. Not saying like, oh, I'm going to go to Barshana, I'm going to do this and that. No, if that's the direction in which she appeared, then I'm rightly situated and I will worship that direction. She's so great. And it reminds me of Srila Guru Maharaj saying, when we gave him the golden volcano, and he said, if you can get the seva of Gangbira, that he will go there, you know. And he saw the look on my face. I was thinking, like, would he survive the journey? And Guru Maharaj knew what I was thinking, and he turned to me and he said, and if I die on the way, he said, at least I will have died going in the right direction. So he said, I worship the direction in which she appeared. Right? Very wonderful and very perfect and very mysterious. And Guru Maharaj said the poetry of Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur is always very intense. And And the Chaitanya Chandramritam, it says how others, they, who were doing yoga or scholarship, raising their family, whatever was going on in life of that point, he said, he has this one slogan that says, when people came in connection with Mahaprabhu, it all stopped. They stopped everything, whatever it was, and just, they were enamored by the beauty and the prem, the Krishna prem, radiating from the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They forgot their lives, right? As we hope to do. We hope to go in that direction. And lastly, just to say that, so when we're trying to understand the significance of Mahaprabhu, he'll even say in Chaitanya Chandramritam, like, what did these other avatars, incarnations do compared to Mahaprabhu? Nothing, he's dismissing everyone, right? And they're dancing to hear that. They're not offended, right? They're thinking, yes, that we also want to do that, but we had to play it where, forgive us, But one of the most beautiful verses of all time just sort of sums it up. And Srila Guru Maharaj used to quote it, and it was Yata Yata Gora Padara Vinde, Vindeta Bhaktim Krita Punyarasi, Tata Tatot Sarpati Hridya Kasmat, Radha Padam Boja Sudamburasi. Written by the author. What is that book of Radharani? The name? Radha Rasa Shuddhanidhi. The title alone is, you can just think about. Radha Rasa Shuddhanidhi. And he says, Gora Padara Vinde, those who are Vindeta Bhaktim Krita Punyarasi, really, if their punya, their sukriti has reached a certain stage, if they are sukritivan, yajanti hu sumedasa. Guru said, those of refined theistic intellect, they will see that the entrance into Vrindavan is in Navadvip. The entrance into Gaur Lila, Krishna Lila, is Gaur Lila. Right? So they will concentrate all their, just like Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranga, Nam, Nityananda saying, put your full energy and concentration in the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, Gaura Padara Vinde. Then, Krita Punyarasi. And what will happen? Tata Tatot Sarpati Hridya Kasmat. Spontaneously, automatically, deep from within the core of your heart, the Radha Rasa Shuddhanidhi will begin to flow. Tata Tatat Sarpati Hridikasmat. Radha Padam Boja Sudamburasi. And they'll spring out of the soil of Vrindavan under the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and the Rupa Nuga line. You'll get everything by putting your full energy and concentration on the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That comes from Astasaki Tunga Vidya, who's one of the 8 Astasakis who's descended in this world. He is telling us, this is how you go there. Guru Maharaj said, every atom of Navadvip is capable of giving Vrindavan in full. The non-liberated will get their fortune in Navadvip. The entrance to Krishna Lila is Gaur Lila. Gaur Lila is the magnanimous distribution of Krishna Lila, even to the unqualified, right? And just to cap it off, Guru Maharaj is saying, and Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan, that Nindandam Pulakot Karena, with the Panchatattva and all the devotees, his hair standing on end, taking the name of Krishna and relishing its sweetness, driving him mad into ecstatic dance and distribution thereby. He's saying the Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu is the Rasa Leela in distribution mode. So they're recruit to join that Sankirtan party. This is the final destination. So he's saying, and where do we learn this? All from Srila Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur, who's saying these things emphatically and the most sweet and beautiful poetic expressions, but with great intensity, emphatically imploring everyone to turn their attention to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. And just to conclude with another sloka from Chaitanya Chandramritam that Prabhupada liked very much, and everybody likes it. He's saying, Dante nidaya trinakam pariornapatya kritva chakako hangetam satam vranimi he sadhava eva sakala bihayam durdad Chaitanya Chandra charane kurutanuragan. He's saying, Prabhodananda Saraswati says, taking a straw between my teeth, my dear sir, you are so learned, so kind, so magnanimous, so generous. I'm asking just please grant one favor to me, and I know you're so generous. Certainly you'll do that. I say, yes, what is your request? And he's saying, forget everything you know. That is my request. Forget everything you know and kindly turn your attention to the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That is Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur. Jai Srila Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur ki jai is Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi Mandir ki jai, Asta Sakhi Tunga Vidya ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Yes, Maharaj, conclusion.
So Maharaj, are you hungry? Do you want to come back, have some prasadam and rest?
Yes, Maharaj. Okay, but let us have a kirtan on as we go.
And let's have a kirtan. Let's, as we're going this way, just come down to the river Jamuna before we turn right off the Parakram path and go up to our temple. So this is going to need Hari Haraya Nama Krishna or as a song of your choice or the Maha Mantra, Maharaj, as you wish.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Hey Jai Go Jai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignanash Avishta Puran Hey Jai Go Jai Jar Muita Roda Kansavada Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Kandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Saneva Janame More Avilas Hey Chai Go Chai Jabe Braje Koelo Vas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash Nityanande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamadan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I go to Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, go to Hari Bo. I go to Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, go to Hari Bo. Go Pramanande Hari Hari. Sri Brajamando Parikrama Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Asatarasa the Sri Srimad Srila Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. And is it Rasa Bihari Gandharva? Rasa Bihari Jiu Ki Jai, Gandharva Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Madana Mohan Jiu Ki Jai, Sri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Seva Kunj Ki Jai, Madana Mohan Ki Jai, Kaliya Ki Jai, Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Lalita Kunda Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai, Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai, Srila Bhakti Nirmal Charya Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai, Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai, Srila Bhakti Kusum Asram Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Brijai Trivikram Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadut Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Sri Munindra Mohan Prabhu Ki Jai, Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai, Bhakti Seva Rishikesh Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhakti Amrit Mahavir Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhakti Bhakti Asrai Dandi Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhakti Vigraha Nyasi Maharaj Ki Jai, Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai, Seva Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Haribol.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. So Time for rest, relax, prasadam, and a new day tomorrow. Let us all gather, same time, same place, in the front of the Chaitanya Saraswati Mountain Mission in Vrindavan, and let's see what will be. Nitai Gaur. Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Sri Haridas and Isabella. Hare Krishna. Dandavat. Jai. Veda Life Israel. There's Braja Sundari with one of her children. Dandavat. Ravindra Krishna Prabhu and Shama Ballava. Dandavat. Janvi Agarwal, the Sandeep Krishna Prabhu. They are, as Madhusudan said, the president of our Sri Vrindavan temple. Dandavat Sandeep Prabhu. Jai Bhakti Seva and Hrishikesh Maharaj with all the Abhazian devotees. Hare Krishna. I'd like to see the gallery. Hare Krishna. Anindita Devidasi Dandavat, Sulakshana Didi, translating all of the books in the Chinese and all these talks in the Chinese. Shakira in South Africa, Dandavat. Praneshri Didi, Dandavat. Nalina Nayana Devidasi Jai in China. Ananda Swarup Prabhu, Dandavat. Dhananjay and Chaitanya Mai in Rome, Dandavat there. And this lady, Leela, is
our friend, also from
her name?
Sushmita's
Sushmita's friend.
Fenger.
Dandavat, Hare Krishna. Chandrakanti Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Prem Narayan Prabhu, Dandavat. Iravati Devidasi, Dandavat. The Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, West London branch. There's Keshavananda Prabhu. Tomorrow night, you're going to hear Keshavananda Prabhu tell wonderful stories about Sri Vrindavan. And Rasamoyi Pandita Devidasi, Dandavat. Vanavi, Dandavat. Vanavi is in Italy. Are you, which city is she in? Also Rome. Oh, yes, Roma, I can see from your lips. There's Janvi, right? And Maheshwari is there as well. Dandavat. And Shamala Devidasi, Dandavat. Nityananda Ram Prabhu, Colombia. Hare Krishna. Maybe you can say something tomorrow evening. We should have let him speak something yesterday. Dandavat Prabhu. O Darja Leela, in the darkness. Dandavat Didi, she's in Ukraine. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, he's our official Parikrama Rakshak. Ajita is always patrolling, protecting everyone. Suchitra Devidasi, Dandavat. Can I bring the water? Divya Shakti, where? Jai. Divya Shakti, Devidasi, Dandavat. I always say, when you want to get some seva done, dial 1-800-GO-DIVYA. Jai. Sophia, Hare Krishna to you. Dandavat. Saraswati Didi and Lakta. Oh. And Kum. Dandavat Didi. Be prepared to say something tomorrow evening. All right? Hare Krishna. Ratan Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Indumukhi, Dandavat. We hope you're feeling better. Sushmita Devidasi, Dandavat. Please give all that love and affection to your students. She has many students at her schools. Suchitra Dandavat Didi. Dinatarini Dandavat. Jamuna. Oh, that's Jamuna here. And this Ajitasha, spelled with a G, like Ajit Tasha. Right? No, I'm joking. It's Ajitasha. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Balaram Das in Moscow, Dandavat. Where? Oh, Dandavat, right in front of me. Right. Dandavat, Sri Lekha Didi. Nadia Dandavat. Vijayanti and Little Janava. Dandavat. Nirupama Devidasi, Dandavat. Ragalekha Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Divya Shakti, unbelievable. Gaur Nataraj and Malika, and maybe Janava too. There's some mysterious figure there. Maruchanda, Dandavat, Sugandha Kanti, and Nalini Kanta, best singer. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Anyone else I see? Pritu Prabhu, Dandavat. Jai Kumar, and Charulata, and Tarun Krishna, Kamalini, Dandavat. Hare Krishna, Ananta Shesh Prabhu. We can always use more of a Jita. Hare Krishna. All right. My Dandavat pranams to one and all. The blessings of Srila Gurudev and our Sri Guru Varga. Srila Guru Maharaj. Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat all Vaishnavas. Hasta mañana, tomorrow we meet again. Now get your energy back, chant Hare Krishna, and the other thing, be happy. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.